Am I feeling brave enough to take this for a spin outside? Hello, welcome back. You join me on this very sunny Saturday afternoon at the end of the project that we're going to be working on this week. For any of you who are new here, my name is Becky. I sew as a hobby, but I've always loved everything crafty and everything spooky. So if either of those things are your jam, please stick around. Equally, if 1950s style fashion is something that you enjoy, you're in the right place. This video is going to be a sewing diary of the creation of the dress that I'm wearing right now. Back in January, before that, back in October, just before the sort of tier system and everything closing, I bought some stripy fabric because I'd been looking at this image and thinking, I love that dress. I would like to make something like that dress. As is my way, I've done a loose interpretation, but credit to Christine McConnell because this was the inspiration. That kind of silhouette. I wanted something that wasn't big poofy circle skirt, something quite smart, something very striking. That's the plan. Whether I can execute that plan, you will have to carry on watching to see. So when I was looking at this pattern, I promised myself that I would remember, because we're doing two sections for each panel rather than folding along the centre seam and cutting out one big bit, that I would remember to put a seam allowance down this side. Now I've cut one piece out and I was just about to cut the second piece out. These are all pattern matched, and I noticed that the one I've just cut out and discarded has not got a seam allowance along this edge, which means I need to cut this one out with a seam allowance, and I probably also need to do it again with the other one. Now I can't go out and get more fabric, so if I run out, that's it, game over. But making a mistake at this stage of the process when we've got that much fabric, we're probably okay. It's another day of sewing. Oh, don't look at my bins. So I've tacked all of the darts, and now I've actually got to start with this bad boy, and I'm scared. But I've got to start somewhere, otherwise I'm never actually going to have a full dress. I'm just going to have a front. So that's what I'm going to start doing. You join me and my project that is besieged by issues on this Friday morning. I've been working on this all week after having put it down for a while as well. I've had to remind myself, one, what this is supposed to look like when it's done. Two, that this should be fun. And to be fair, challenges are fun. Let me show you what the plan is. So I have sloping shoulders, which means that this straight line across the top doesn't work. This kind of line, or in fact, it's easier to see here, this one fits much better. But then that's taken like an inch off the armholes. So what we're going to have to do is extend the armhole like that. That will also give me some room. I thought about it. I did think, do I actually want to cut into this? Is this a good idea? The answer is yes. This is something for me to wear. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to fit. So what I'm going to do is bring it, that's going to be my new shoulder point. So I'm going to add some seam allowance. I'm going to go through and measure that now and put it on. And I'm going to cut into this and try adding this sleeve here, which I've made up. Sleeve looks like this. It's straight. You've got your little turn up line there, and I've got my gathering thread here, so I can pull on that and it creates gathers to make the sleeve fit into the armhole. The other option with this is going to be to put a gusset in, which is what I've already tried with the other sleeve to limited effect. It kind of works, but not really. So I'm going to put this sleeve in this side without a gusset, with the new sized armhole and see if that's better. Then we'll do the other one. I also need to sort out the neckline, but I will show you that in a bit. Anchored. Then what we need to do is have a look at this top bit. So at the moment that's how gathered it is. And it's not bad, but there's quite a lot of room here. So I'm just going to pull on this thread, just a little bit, and we're going to adjust this slightly. So, there we go. Make sure they're kind of nice and even. And then we can take a look and see if that's better. So, looking, gathering. Still needs to just go a little bit smaller, but that's okay. We can again just pull, gently ease that around, especially this top bit. Although generally, I think it looks better if more of the gathering is at the top. That'll do it. There we go. So I'm just going to pin that in and then tack it. And I'm using these absolutely gorgeous glass-headed pins from, I think they're from a brand called Akari. They come in a little pot. So if anyone knows anything about this type of pin, please leave a comment, because they are beautiful and I don't know very much about them. I also feel like I need a little test tube stand to put these in. Shout out to Layla for these very sharp pins. And I can tell you they are really sharp, because I've got some in the gusset under the other arm, and I tried it on yesterday and I stabbed myself in the armpit. It turns out the sleeves would be one of my least favourite things ever to sew. This is what we've got after inserting the sleeve. So this one is definitely better. There's not really any difference in movement. You can't really move in this dress, unfortunately, between the two, so I think I'm going to go for the one without the gusset. But that sleeve is so much better. So much better. The next thing we're going to do is create the neckline, which, if I flip my hair back, is going to go out like that. I need to make a collar, and obviously I need to cuff the sleeves, and I need to unpick all these little stitches, but the adjustments on the side are much better. The sleeves are much better. We are in business. Disaster sleeve. Better sleeve. I've just got to work out what I'm doing with this neckline. I think it's going to be a wide V. I think maybe even wider than this. So quite sexy, with a little collar that needs to pattern match this. So the last hurdle to get over is littered with more problems, but I think we can manage that. I hope. I'm quite liking this kind of stood up effect actually, but I don't know if that's actually achievable with what I want to do. We'll see. Sewing's been delayed today. Look a bit frazzled. The camera is shaking, having a hypo, which is why I was sat down. Wanted to start sewing at 10 o'clock. Had a panic attack because I had unknown doctor's call that I then missed and couldn't phone them back. So I don't know why they're phoning me or what for. There are many things it could be. But I had a wee freak out about that. Then I needed to go for a walk to calm down. Then I had lunch, tried to start tidying up so I could start sewing. Needed a nap. Woke up from the nap. The hair is this. Again, started trying to finish the tidying. Laundry is up. Then I had hypo. Well, it's about 3 hours later than I originally intended, and I'm waiting to start. Best laid plans, eh? Today the plan is to finish the dress. So I need to do the collar. And then to decide what I'm doing with the bottom of the skirt. I feel like I've been working on this dress forever. And there were moments where I just didn't want to do it anymore because I was either scared it wouldn't fit, or scared that it wouldn't be perfect. Had to remind myself yesterday that this is supposed to be fun and it just has to fit me. And that made it a little better and easier, but I would really like it done. In anticipation of it being done, I did this as well. Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. So this ironing board came with the flat, but look how apt it is. Look, it's got little like pinwheels and spools and tape measures. This thing's got more tape measures than I can actually find in the flat at the moment. Oh, by the way, if you're not accustomed to a bit of mess, this probably isn't the place for you. I'm not a naturally tidy person and I'm deeply embarrassed of it, but to be honest, I've reached the point where I know that if I only film things and do stuff while this place is tidy, I will never do anything or film anything. So we're working with what we've got. Does anyone else have this happen with their sewing machine? I've taken out all of this. So I've pulled all of that out, had a look. Really, I think what I need to do is also get this bit out and get in here, because something somewhere in here is jamming the thread. It's been doing this for the past half an hour, and what was supposed to be relaxing is not. One thing I absolutely love about sewing is that it teaches you patience. Honestly, I think I was about to go flying off the handle because this is my penultimate day off, and it just wasn't going right. The culprit was that the thread wasn't threaded through here, and I didn't check. And it's the case that often the most simple thing is the solution. What I've done is I've draped this so that it pattern matches kind of as chevrons to this. And what I'm going to do is lay this over the top. It's hard to do this one-handed, to cut out the collar so that rather than it blending in, it stands out. The thing no one tells you about sewing is it's mostly ironing. I'm having a bit of a struggle at the moment, I'm not gonna lie. It's quite hard moving to a new place and not knowing the people, like anyone here, and not being able to meet up with people, not being able to travel. It's really hard. I don't think I expected it to be, but it is. Yeah. I don't know if you can hear it, but there's a pub literally next door, and hearing people out there having a nice time, I'm very happy for them. It's wonderful, but I can't do that yet because I haven't had my second vaccine, and my family, if you will recall, earlier this year, spoke about it, they were shielding. So, this does not match, okay. And so I haven't seen them in 9 months, which is really hard. It's really hard. This is the wrong shape. Yeah, and I miss my friends, and I miss going and doing things. I'd love to go climbing, for instance. I haven't been able to do that. Don't even know if there's a bouldering wall around here. I really miss salsa dancing. There was a couple who were doing bachata in the fountain outside Birmingham City Library, and I sat and watched them for about 10 minutes, and I just thought, wow, I miss that. And it's, Latin dancing is a really social thing, so yeah, it's that weird thing of I want to go and do stuff, but also I don't know how I'm going to cope. Because to be honest, making this, I'm exhausted, absolutely exhausted. I had a nap before I started filming this, and I just don't know. I don't know how we're going to cope with going back in to all of that, like how busy we were before. Oh yeah, it's all coming together. I'm so pleased with it. So the last steps are as follows. Attach that collar, hem the sleeves, hem the bottom, decide what I'm doing with the slit at the back, and then we'll be done. Okay, so this is fiddly because I'm actually trying to capture 3 layers of fabric. I'm trying to line my pins up with this line here to get that nice curved neckline. And then this will fold over and capture the collar, the dress, and then enclose all of these raw edges. That's the plan. Oh, it might not work. I'm really scared if it doesn't work, but what I'm trying to do is get these pins in here. And then I'll, oh, ow, fudger, that really hurt. Okay, I really hope this works. This is like a solid lesson in why you should use a pattern and not just imagine the dress you want and then try and make it with no prior experience or formalised instructions. It's a bad idea and you might cry, but also you might end up with a really cool dress, so I'm not sure what the result of this is going to be yet. Sometimes think about whether I would want to do this as a job, and I'm not sure because at the moment this is just for me. Just for me. It doesn't, it doesn't have to be perfect because it's just for me. And frankly, I quite enjoy making things up as I go along, which is great when you haven't got time constraints, but I think that maybe if I was doing this for someone else, it would get much more stressful. As we all know, I stress myself out enough without getting other people involved. So, I just don't know. I love doing this. The things I want to do, I just don't know if I'd have time. But then I'm really slow, so I'm really slow at this. So, I don't know. I think maybe I enjoy making my life a little bit harder than it needs to be. That challenge really inspires and motivates me. Whereas, I don't know, an unnecessary hardship does not inspire nor motivate me. So I think we've learned a valuable lesson there, which is don't make shit harder for yourself than it needs to be in certain circumstances. Right. This is like the most pins I've ever used on anything ever. This is, as Alex has pointed out, this is a massive Cruella de Vil vibe. Stuck. I think without the hat. So this is it finished. It's not completely finished. I will point out now, it's more obvious now I'm sitting down, this is much longer than this. So it's not even. So what I'm going to have to do is take this bit of the collar off and put a totally new one on, but at this point I just wanted it done. You can see the sleeves, I'm pretty happy with the length. I'm really pleased with the pattern matching across the front. It's not so good at the back, but let's be honest, the only bit that matters is that bit there. I'm so happy with it. I mean, there is a little bit, you can see, particularly when I move, of creasing just here. So if anyone knows how to fix that on future patterns, please let me know, because that's always going to be noticeable for me. But I don't think anyone else would notice. It's very dramatic, way more dramatic than I thought it would be. I was inspired by a Halloween outfit that Christine McConnell made, and so I think I kind of forgot that normal people don't dress like this. But I feel really glamorous. I think the makeup and the hair really help. This is giving me Madame Satan from Sabrina. This is giving me Cruella de Vil. This is giving me Christine McConnell. This is giving me a little bit of like 50s Bewitched vibes. I heckin' love it. I'm so proud of myself. It had to be just good and finished, and I managed that. And right, not gonna lie, this morning I did not want to do this. I didn't want it finished. I didn't want to put it on. I didn't want to get dolled up like this. I felt rubbish. And just the process of getting myself dolled up to film this and get it done, it's made me feel so much better. So thank you very much for watching this frankly chaotic creation. Let me know in the comments what you're working on. If you've got any tips for particularly this section here, I am all ears. Please tell me. That's one thing I love about this community, is that people are so willing to offer information. And let me know what you would like to see from me next. I've got an idea. I need to go to the rag market in Birmingham and have a look. But I'm thinking a slightly spooky, something not quite right take on Lyrica Matoshi's strawberry dress. So if you'd be interested in that, please give this channel a follow and like the video if you liked it.